Behind me is the home of Rob Reiner. Two people killed inside their own home. The person sitting in jail right now as the suspect who did the murders lived right here. The other most famous murder crime story ever was also in Brentwood. Kato Kaelin lived in the guest house. So we're doing the tour today. We're gonna go to the Conan O'Brien house where the party was held. We're gonna go to the hotel where Nick Reiner went after the murders. OJ's house where Kato used to live.
Did you tell our viewers whose house it used to be?
We're gonna get to that. You won't believe it. Behind me is the home of Rob Reiner, a house that up until about a week ago symbolized success, family, safety, and security right here in Brentwood. In Los Angeles, California. Today, it is the center of one of the most shocking crimes that have ever taken place and one of the most publicized, and it's really only just begun. Two people killed inside their own home, including the icon in Hollywood, Rob Reiner. No forced entry, and believe it or not, the person sitting in jail right now as the suspect who did the murders lived right here on property, not across town, right here. Welcome everybody, I'm Tom Zenner. Welcome to Tom Zenner Scandal. We have a great episode today of One Degree of Scandalous with the one and only Kato Kaelin. And Kato, I mentioned Rob's son, Nick Reiner, lived on the property. He lived in the guest house.
Which is amazing, the guest house. And you would never even realize that we're filming today. It's just like a regular day here in Brentwood. There's construction going on. There's food trucks. There's just people walking by. I don't even think they realize that's the house, in my opinion. I just don't. I think they come here to work and that's it. But we are right at the gate, Tom, and it's Brentwood.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so let me set the table for what we're doing. I mentioned Nick Reiner lived on the property. The other most famous, murder crime story ever was also in Brentwood. Kato Kaelin lived in the guest house. There's only one person that can have the perspective of how a life, now obviously different circumstances. Also, we're doing the tour today. We're gonna go to the Conan O'Brien house where the party was held on that Saturday night before the murders. We're gonna go to the hotel where Nick Reiner went after the murders, and then stick around to the end. We're going to OJ's house where Kato used to live, which is a mile and a half from here on North Rockingham. It's basically the same neighborhood.
It's exactly the same neighborhood. I like I said, back then I ran every day. Without knowing it, I ran by this house at least 100 times. And I never would have known it was Rob Reiner's. And while I was waiting, Tom, I was waiting for you to come by here where we parked our cars. I would say, I'm not going to name celebrities, at least 4 or 5 different cars drove by. And I said to George, our cameraman, he can nod in approval. I said, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. It's just probably 95% industry people in the area that we're in. And Tom, did you tell our fans, our viewers, whose house it used to be?
We're going to get to that.
Is that a little
tease?
You know,
it's a tease. You won't believe it. The history of who's lived in this house.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler. Okay, now listen. I'm going to have George, who's always with us on these shoots. He's going to shoot the street a little bit here. So we're just going to, the whole street is lined with cars, but there's construction going on here. But again, you're going to get people that are going to be showing up here to take a look. Okay, because this is not a celebrity home. This is not a celebrity neighborhood. This is a crime scene, and with multiple chapters left to be played out in this thing. So, I mean, Kato, the thing that strikes me is a lot of stars live in Calabasas, in the Valley, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, where you have big estates, acre or two, gates, security. This is a neighborhood. It's a very nice neighborhood, but it's a neighborhood where you know, you'd see people walking the dog. You'd say hi to your neighbor, things like that.
No, exactly. As a matter of fact, you would not. It's so. Like you said, it's got that, I don't want to age myself, but Leave It to Beaver feel. It's very homey, very family here. And the only thing that kind of sticks out is when we walked here, I'm pretty positive there's a truck here that is security, and they kind of scoped us out. But we are in the street, and it's 100% legal. And I think it's interesting to our viewers that you know, a lot of our comments are, thanks for taking us to these sites. We're in Canada, or we're in Wisconsin, we're in Ohio. We bring it right to you guys, and we are standing literally 20 yards from, Rob Reiner's house.
No, it's right behind us. The gate is right behind us. Viewers all over the world, New Zealand, Australia, all throughout Europe. I mean, we get the comments from all of you, but this is going to be a hell of an episode. Kato, it's important to note that they lived here for 26 years. Now, you mentioned they have a beach house in Malibu as well, because you need to escape. But for 26 years, they lived here. So this isn't something, you know, this isn't a flip. This isn't, you know, something that they're transactional and moving on every couple of years. This was their family home. All right, the kids grew up there. It's just unbelievable to think what happened behind those gates and how this has just changed really the story of that family, and then now you have another huge murder in Brentwood.
Well, and I think the thing that really sticks out, that it's 26 years, you know, that the family memories they have. They raise their kids here. They have all the situations of seeing the kids from being at birth up until, well, with Romy, the daughter, and Nick, and realizing that, let's face it, Nick had major problems. And I believe that Rob and Michelle probably had helped him out with everything in life, with going through drugs, getting him through rehab and all that, and always sticking by their son. I mean, it's their God-given son.
Yeah.
And to have the situation where the son pays you back in the most horrible way, with the biggest tragedy that from 30 years ago, the other murder, it took 30 years, and now there's another Brentwood. What's happening here in this beautiful area?
Yeah, and then to compound that, I mean, Nick has siblings, right? And obviously some money from the estate's going to go to pay for his defense, which is unfathomable. And really this type of story, you know, it just takes time, you know, because it's elevated to such a degree because the whole world knows about it. But it just, you know, for the whole family to adjust to that is just going to take time. All right, you teased it. Talk about the history of this property.
Well, the history of this property is pretty amazing because everybody knows Rob Reiner. If you grew up watching All in the Family, his name was Michael Stivic. He was the Polish married to Archie Bunker's meathead. Michael Stivic was his real name, the Polish name, when Archie Carol Connor would make fun of it all the time, who was married to the Sally Struthers, who was the daughter. Now, at one point, Norman Lear invited to a Christmas party at this house when it was Norman Lear's house. And Rob Reiner had said, this is the exact kind of house I want to be able to afford one day. I want this. It is so family orientated. Those are his words. And years later, that house went up for sale from Norman Lear. And need I say more, Rob Reiner got his dream of buying the house that Norman Lear, which pretty much made his career in All in the Family. It ran for over 10 years, and all that happened because Norman Lear gave him the
told him about it. Yeah. Okay. So very interesting story. I think it sold for $4.1 million when the Reiners bought it. Before that, Henry Fonda owned it. So Jane Fonda, Peter Fonda, right here in this house too. I mean, that's the thing about LA. And by the way, it is a gorgeous day today. I mean, it's December, late December, and I don't need this jacket.
Well, no,
it's 68 degrees.
We don't need this, and there's nothing but leaf blowers going on, and there's gardeners doing their job, and it's just. Yeah, like I said, just another day here in Brentwood.
Yeah, and the point is, it's idyllic. This is a place where it's a fantasy to live here. I mean, it's just beautiful. And to think about what went on behind us is truly incredible. Okay, now, we mentioned the connection, right? And it wasn't like Nick lived in another part of town. They didn't put him in their Malibu beach house. He wasn't in an apartment somewhere and they ignored him. He lived on the property and they knew he was dangerous, right? With the schizophrenia, with the drugs that he was taking to combat that, and the fact that he was an addict and in and out of rehab for 17 different times. So there's only one person on the planet that can really speak to this type of perspective of being on the same property where the suspect for a massive, high-profile celebrity murder took place, and it's this guy right here.
Yeah,
and it's just got to be kind of crazy, isn't it?
Well, it's crazy because I think we know, like, this is a developing story, and it'll keep developing. I imagine there's nothing but cameras inside the house as well as outside the house. I imagine that the reason that it was the first thing detectives noticed was there was no break-in. Everything kind of pointed to Nick, and like I said, he lived in the property. He lived in the guest house, and the thing is, guest houses are all over Brentwood. People want to live in a guest house. It's like a dream. It's connected to the celebrity, and you live in an area that you got your own entrance, it's your own little home on the property. And it's not just Rob Reiner and OJ had guest houses. Kind of this whole block, I'll guarantee you everybody's got a guest house here. Yeah. And whoever lives there, maybe it's family, or maybe they rent it out. Maybe it's an Airbnb. Yeah. But there's so much that goes on in LA. It's another way to increase value if you want to have revenue. If you feel comfortable.
You got the space, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. You're going to have a guest house. Now, the thing that makes it interesting is Rob and Michelle Reiner were always around frequently, Nick, since he lived on the property. So you're always exposed to those problems he had. Yeah. If he had flashes of anger or psychosis or some strange behavior, you're looking at that going, God, he's never gotten better. He's getting worse. Never in your wildest dreams do you think what could happen would actually happen. Right. But it's a nightmare for a parent knowing you're doing everything you can to help your son, and it ultimately costs your life.
And it wasn't no big secret that Nick had a problem. All the celebrities basically that were at Conan O'Brien's house, I think, were aware that there was a problem with him psychologically, and not a bad thing. I'm sure they kind of catered to him and realized he had a problem, and I'm sure we're nothing but nice to him. And I know, I believe in the news now, Bill Hader's kind of getting upset that he's in the news about this. And no one wants to be attached.
Well, you have
to
no
it.
choice when it comes to that. If you had an interaction with Nick Reiner the night before he did a double murder, you're going to be talked about.
You know, our guest, if you watch the episode with Joshua Ritter, Joshua said that he thought that all celebrities would be off the record, but they'd want to come and tell their story. And I believe that to be true. I think they want to be off the record, but they want to say exactly what happened. And when they talk to the other lawyers, because they will be interviewed by detectives, by anybody that was at that party. I'm sure already the process is going on.
100%. And here's what you got to remember. Everybody loved Rob Reiner in Hollywood, that worked with him, that knew about him, that just appreciated the legend that he was. If you had interactions with Nick, that wasn't going to be your opinion. You probably want to keep your distance from him, and I'm sure it was heightened and on display at that party at Conan O'Brien. So here's what we're doing. We're going to show you the neighborhood as we end this little part of the segment right here, okay? Then we're going to go to Conan O'Brien's house where the party was, okay? So we're going to show you what that looks like in the Palisades. And then we're going to go to the hotel in Santa Monica, and then we're going to end up 360 North Rockingham, former home of O.J. Simpson, former bungalow home of Kato Kaelin. We're gonna show you how close it is.
I'll tell you, the other thing that kind of comes to my mind, and I will guarantee you I'm correct in this, the house, we're going to go to Conan O'Brien who threw the Christmas party, but I guarantee you this house had many Christmas parties. And as you can see in the background, Tom, it's still decorated with the ornaments there and the trees hanging. The gate itself has the Christmas wreaths on there. And I'm sure that Rob and Michelle through their own Christmas parties with the guests that were at Conan's also, because celebrities, every year, someone will throw a party and you go to it. So it's really interesting to be here.
And what makes it even more horrific is the murders happened during Hanukkah. So I mean, right here in the middle of the season. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying this. We're going to give you the lay of the land. It's a beautiful day to do this, and we're going to give you context. Obviously, everybody's following this story. We want to show you the sites, the places, show you how close they are, and give you the background story. All right, so we're heading to our next spot. Well, just hours before the murders of Rob and Michelle Reiner, the Reiners were here. We're in front of Conan O'Brien's house in the Pacific Palisades, and this wasn't a venue. This was a private home, a celebratory evening, a Christmas party, right, with A-list stars and whatnot. But it also is going to manufacture some witnesses and people with bad memories, probably for the rest of their life. So, Kato, this is where the public got it, or there was people in public and a lot of named people that saw the tension. And I'm sure you could read it on the parents' face. Oh, here we go again. We brought him over here because we didn't know what he would do if we left him at the house. And to see him embarrass them probably and act like a complete jerk. And we don't know exactly what happened, but that's what the reports are saying.
Well, I also think, Tom, part of it was that he's there, and I think probably going against everybody's word, it's like a dress-up party that he just wore sweats and a hoodie, and I don't think that's the way you approach a holiday party. I mean, maybe that's his look, and he goes, well, I can wear what I want to wear. And as you can see, we're in the Pacific Palisades, only a mile or so away from where we were from the Reiner's house. Everything's close. Everybody knows each other. Brentwood to Pacific Palisades, and Team Coco obviously is doing really well because this is a beautiful, beautiful home. And so, and I referenced Josh Ritter only because he says that a lot of the celebrities that were here, we won't mention names, but all of them will have some kind of involvement of what the argument was.
Yeah, if you're a golf fan, Riviera Country Club, Tiger Woods' old tournament is right behind us too. Yeah, this is just another one of those magical places in LA. You can see why celebrities and people have done really well in life, affluent people, wealthy people want to move here. Who wouldn't? You just don't want to be associated with what happened in that house the night, just really hours before Rob and Michelle Reiner were killed. Now, Kato, I'm speculating, but let's play this through.
Okay.
He was dressed inappropriately, and just that tells you something about him right there. He doesn't give a damn, right? No respect for your parents, really. No respect for where you're going. I'm going to wear what I want to wear. And that could have started things before they even got here.
Yeah,
like
that's what
I
I was
could see an
thinking.
argument. Why are you wearing that? And he refused. So you go there in bad. There's drugs. He's taking prescribed drugs, potentially, possibly something for schizophrenia. Could be a bad mix with the other stuff he's taking.
Everything exacerbates each other, and I think that's kind of what happened. And you know, we don't know what the arguments were about, but we know enough that it caused embarrassment and it caused them to leave the party.
Yeah.
So there's something major happened. It wasn't just say I hate what you're wearing. There's a lot more, and it was going into the party. There's already issues.
Sure.
So I think everything that happened at the party, the issues that Rob Reiner and Michelle had with him already, and
yeah, but look at it like this too. I mean, something has to trigger something that violent and extreme. I'm not saying it was the wardrobe, but things are building.
Right.
The toxic mix of drugs, and then he comes here, and then he's looking. They're probably looking at him. Who wouldn't be looking? Why is he dressed like that? And then you love Rob. All these celebrities and famous people love Rob and Michelle Reiner. And think about it. This is a place where a celebration was going on. And you're having some of the funniest people in the world there, right? So imagine the atmosphere. It had to be great. He walks in, tension. And you know how it is at a party sometimes when somebody that shouldn't be there or is in a bad mood or high or on drugs or something, they change the energy instantly in that whole house.
Tom, I was just going to say that exact thing, how the energy has changed in a room of a celebration into something that became a complete downer, and that's kind of what happened at the party. I mean, our opinion is, I think that's what happened at the party. And I always think about when Rob and Michelle would bring in, like a Nick saying, introducing them to other celebrities. You remember our son, Nick.
Right. And trying to make him look good, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know that had to happen, and everybody's going, oh, of course. And everybody being friendly. And everybody is celebrating. It's Hanukkah and Christmas. It's hugging. And it's the whole... everybody's joyful.
Yeah.
And that quickly turned.
You know, George, if you're seeing the house, if not, you know, you could show kind of how it, goes all halfway down this block. But think about it, valet here, right? Security, believe me, there's going to be security outside here at this party. A lot of people. You don't want to disrupt the entire neighborhood. So, Kato, that's a lot of witnesses. Oh, yeah. Right? And this is a huge, huge estate, meaning there's a lot of waiters in there, bartenders, service people, caterers. Everybody is going to be a potential witness. And think about it. I wonder what the reaction was when the Reiners left, because there was a heated argument, and like we said, it probably changed the tone of that whole party. I wonder what they were saying after they left. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what Rob and Michelle have to deal with. This guy's, he's off the rails.
Another great point. I imagine there was a lot of text saying, hey, just thinking of you, or hope you got home safe, or all this. I guarantee there's phone records are going to be huge of what kind of text messages there were coming possibly from the party or from Nick Reiner to his parents or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you know, Tom and I are sitting here today, and like I said, it's a gorgeous day. It's Christmas in LA, and it's 70 degrees, but we don't know. For all we know, there's detectives and there's questioning going on as we speak here.
Who knows, right?
The streets are packed, and you don't know if there's being an interview going on right now, which I think there probably are, because they want to do everything before the actual holiday of Christmas.
Well, think about it. Everything is information. Anybody that can add to the investigation on either side, right? Because, you know, Alan Jackson's team is doing the exact same thing. So that's exactly what's going on right now. Might be one of your fans there, Kato, stopping.
I think we're getting Christmas music.
Okay, so, you know, this is an important spot for us to be because of the timeline, all right? Everything feeds into what escalated to the point where Rob and Michelle Reiner were murdered, right? And this is where they were hours before at what should have been a festive holiday party. And think about it. Conan, come on. Could there be a better host probably for a party? I mean, it's fun, it's light, it's, you know, first class all the way. I guess she has a reason to be there. Okay, anyway, again, this is what we do. We want to show our viewers, because there's such intrigue, there's such a desire for information about this, and that's all we're doing is showing these spots.
It's ironic that right now as we're speaking, a probably important person is just driving into the driveway here, and it's just like timing, and you mentioned timeline. This is probably going to be the most important timeline for Nick Reiner of leaving the party before going back to the home, and after the office, we know what happened at home, and then checking into a hotel.
Yep, good setup, because that's where we're headed next. And hey, we just want to leave you, because Kato and I have lived here in LA for a very long time. When we did the Menendez Night Stalker tour and Charles Manson, we were driving all day. Hillside Strangler, spot here, 15 minutes there, 20 miles there. This is all so close. 5 minutes to the Reiner's house. 5 minutes to OJ's house.
Oh.
It's really kind of strange and
we
bizarre.
forgot Cello Drive. That day was long too.
Yeah.
Lots of driving.
Yep.
Everything's at close proximity, which makes sense because it's all celebrity pretty much here.
Yeah.
If anybody went to the party, I imagine 90% of the people lived in this area and within a 10-minute drive.
Okay, well, this house didn't tell us everything that happened, but it's got the ability to fill in the blanks, to answer some questions. And the next spot we're going is very, very key. We're heading to Santa Monica, another short drive, where Nick Reiner went after the murders. Let's go. All right, well, after the night at Conan O'Brien's, the Christmas party, after the drive out of Brentwood, the story doesn't end. It takes place, next chapter, right here. This is the Pierside Hotel. We are in Santa Monica. The Santa Monica Pier is over there. We'll show that to you in a second. Now, Kato, this is the exact opposite of where we were in Brentwood. That's tranquil, peaceful, beautiful, private. This is hustle bustle, it's chaos, and cameras and people everywhere.
Everywhere, and this is, we're sitting in Santa Monica, everybody's speaking another language, very international here. So this is probably an incredible hotel for people to be staying at because they are literally 100 yards from the Santa Monica Pier. And you see the Santa Monica Pier shot in every film, every sporting event. If they do anything in LA, they show that shot of the Santa Monica Pier. So this is where Nick Reiner ends up. And can I make a parallel?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a parallel to this. And I bring back the OJ thing because OJ, it took place at a Hilton, I believe, in Chicago, where he said he cut his finger on the glass on the sink. And we found out later it was at a golf club, chipping balls. But the point is, there was blood left in the hotel room, but there was a lot of blood left here, found by a maid, on the bed sheets, all over the carpet. It was blood soaked.
Well said, because this is probably the place where the case doesn't become circumstantial anymore. It becomes physical. They're looking to connect dots. And what do you think about this? Do you think, now clearly he's not thinking clearly, okay, at all, because of what we referenced before,
right.
Drugs, medication, prescribed, whatever, but he also committed the most gruesome, horrific thing a son could ever do to their parents. Do you think he was coming down here to blend in? Because, look, you disappear in a crowd here. And Santa Monica and the pier isn't what it used to be. This used to be a lot nicer, right? 3rd Street Promenade used to be a great place to go and stroll and walk around. It's a little sketchy now, sketchier than it used to be.
Well,
what do you think?
Checking in at 4 a.m. kind of tells you a lot right there. Who checks in at 4 a.m. to a hotel? And I think you're right, though. And I think that's a question that the defense and prosecution want to know. Why are you checking into a hotel? And why is it this hotel? Obviously, it's become a crime scene. We're going to find out what was going through his mind. I think you're right. I think you're whacked out. You just committed the most heinous crime. And you've got to think, there's got to be blood on him already. And it just, did he shower? Was this his place to clean up? And how did he check in? Or did he have it already in the room?
Or could you pay cash here? Who knows? Maybe we'll find those answers. We're going to talk about some of the evidence inside the hotel. George, as we're doing that, show him the area. This is the Santa Monica Pier. You're going to see the world-famous sign right there. The Ferris wheel is over there, the roller coaster. You see it. So we see the sign, we see the street, we see the tourists all around here. Now, all right, so George, get the pier sign right there. And Kato, look, this is crazy. We were at the Cecil Hotel 2 months ago. Now we're here, 2 hotels in LA that are just like infamous, right? Yeah. And what were you expecting? I take it you've never stayed here, so what were you expecting?
No, but honestly, this is a lot nicer than I think you were talking about. This is not that bad. I mean, you are in prime real estate. You are literally, I think people want to stay here because they can walk to the pier. The Ivy restaurant is right there. A 5-star restaurant. The whole strip that George is showing, it's nothing but fine restaurant and dining, the best sushi you can find. This is a great area, and the 3rd Street Promenade, which you've been to many times, is a shopping area. It's tourist filled. But I'm thinking, my mind goes here, Tom. How do you check in? And follow me in this. Do you think if it's premeditated, he already has a room key? And he has it, and he knows there's an entrance where no one can be?
I don't think it was premeditated at all. Okay. I think he's probably killing some time, figuring out where he goes. He ends up here. Maybe, look, it's not easy to park here, number one. So he had to find a place to park, and then he went in here. And Kato, think about it, man. if the maids found blood in here, as we look at this hotel, what it's 3 or 4 stories tall, blood in the bathroom and shower is what they found. Blood-stained towels and linens. Windows reportedly covered or blocked. So this was all hours after the alleged murders. And remember, what we learned on our last episode with Josh Ritter. Josh said he left here and got arrested in Exhibition Park over by USC, South Central LA, which is not close to here.
Which a point that Josh brought up, and I also believe it's true. That's an area that there could be possible drug dealings going on. Was he looking for drugs? We don't know. It's a big possibility. And, the coroner's report, Tom said, death was by a sharp object. The key is, did they find the murder weapon? Is it, we're going to, there's so much that's so fascinating. We're going to find out more about this hotel, obviously. But here's what can you imagine being the maid? You have no idea. You're going to a room and it's just blood.
And you're thrust into that.
And
you're immediately in the story.
You found the room that Nick Reiner was in.
Yeah.
And no one knows. She doesn't know Nick Reiner. It's just it just blows you away of how Brentwood becomes Santa Monica. Santa Monica. We go to Conan's. We go to OJ's. We go to Rob Reiner's house. It's.
I think with the house cleaning staff at hotels, they're used to seeing weird things. But that's over the top, clearly. And then, I'm sure it's not. Happens probably far more frequently than we think, but not attached to a story of this magnitude.
No.
And she's going to have to testify. But, this is where these trained LAPD robbery and homicide detectives, it's a gold mine for them, if you think about it. That much physical evidence that allegedly was found in his room here. But, folks, you're looking at the steps that Nick Reiner took literally hours after murdering his parents.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Kato, do you remember the movie Dragnet? With Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd. This is the street where
Connie Swale.
And this is this is where Aykroyd was driving the car straight into the pier there, right? The Santa Monica Pier. The movie Sharknado.
Tom,
hate to reference that one, but not many people watch it, but I did, all there on the Santa Monica Pier. This is Santa Monica. We were here because this was where, think about it, this is where the Menendez brothers went.
Detectives right there, by the way, and driving by in that unmarked car.
So this is where the Menendez came, Santa Monica, to the food festival, right? So Santa Monica has a link with the Menendez case. We have the link with, obviously, Kato, OJ, and now Nick Reiner, Rob Reiner, and the path that they took.
Yeah. And Tom, checking in at 4 a.m., the hustle and bustle is now, although it probably starts bustling at 6 a.m. with surfers and it gets busy, but at 4 a.m., you gotta figure out, did he drive here?
Yeah.
Did he, I don't know, did he Uber? We don't know.
Right.
But there's a car, there's somehow transportation involved.
Yep.
And, we're going to see all this later if there's actual footage of him checking into the room. It's all going to come out.
And Kato, this is what the detectives look for, right? Checking into a hotel. His home was the backyard, right? So he left for a reason, right? So that was something that they found right away. The timing, the early morning hours, who checks into a hotel. I mean, if you check into a hotel at 4 a.m., you're paying for 2 days, basically, because you got an early check-in. And then attempts to isolate or conceal, allegedly, right? So he's getting away, maybe thinking he could dump some stuff. And then moving away from familiar locations. I don't know if Nick Reiner was familiar with Santa Monica. He was 34 years old. He may have been.
Here's an important point. I think this could have happened. He's wearing a dark hoodie. We don't know if he's wearing it during the crime scene, during the crime itself. But if you're wearing a dark black suit, you don't see blood on yourself. You don't see it. It blends in. Did the blood all happen when he took off his suit and there's blood everywhere? You realize he's wearing a blood-drenched outfit, all in black? Because red won't show up, the blood won't show up, and possibly taking the clothes off, putting them on the bed, putting them in the shower, and if they're blood drenched, that's where you're going to find all this blood. And I think that happened possibly, and he was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and there's that surveillance video at the convenience store where he looks normal, making a purchase.
But you know what, a great point about that, normal, I thought about that the more and more since we had Josh Ritter. I thought, maybe that is crazy. Who stays calm after an event like that?
Yeah.
Is that craziness? We don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so remember this, if this goes to trial, if he testifies, whatever, juries are instructed to look not at just what someone says, but what they do next. This is what the killer, the alleged killer, Nick Reiner, did next, hours after it. Right? So here's where he was. And again, this is the story that's going to go on and on and on and on. And this was the perfect time to do the site locations right now. We have one more to go.
Yeah, and Tom and I were talking in the car because we're driving the sites, and we both agree not only do we believe that you watching our show love that we do this and you go on these tours and these great drone shots, we love it just as much because we're seeing it firsthand in the city we live in, and we love it, and we know that you love it, and it really is fascinating, and it's fascinating that you are getting the firsthand look. And I told Tom, I think we do more than actual news shows. We get right in and we do it.
Without a doubt. Yeah, this is for context, for perspective, so we could show you. I mean, we have fans all over the country or all over the world that watch this show. You hear about these locations. They seem magical and larger than life. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. But they're all interesting, they're fascinating. If you're into pop culture and you're following this horrific crime story, you want to see what it's like. So this is it. This is Colorado. Ocean is right over there, and the Pacific Ocean is right there past the Santa Monica Pier sign. So, Kato, I'll tell you what. There's one more spot that we're going, and it's a place you spent a lot of time, but you haven't been there but one time in the last 31 years. We're going to 360 Rockingham. How you feeling right before we head over?
You know what? I know that the house is torn down, but I wonder if the guest houses were. And I know George is going to get some drone shots. It's going to have that eerie feel. It's going to be a drive there. We're going to see how the proximity. We'll find out from Reiner's house, and it's going to be fascinating. And I'm really interested to find out because they don't have a pool anymore. What it's going to look like.
Right.
So we're going to get these shots. And like you said, Tom, first time, who would have thought? I didn't think I'd ever go back again. And now we're going back with another tragedy.
Yep. Okay, so we're heading there next. It's probably going to be sunny over there. The weather can change in LA very, very quickly. Kind of cloudy and cool here in Santa Monica. We're going back to Brentwood, 360 North Rockingham.
Wow.
Come along with us.
So, Tom, the drive was pretty short, huh? I mean,
that's the thing I noticed about it, right? I mean, that's the thing that jumps out at you. Right now, you may recognize 360 North Rockingham, now called 380 North Rockingham. Former home of Kato Kaelin, former home of O.J. Simpson, right behind that gate right there. And this is Rockingham. We'll show it to you again. We came here a year and a half ago. First time Kato had been back when we did the episode of all the O.J. sites, and now you're here again.
Well, the thing is, it became such a media circus like the Reiner house will become. It became so impactful with all the media that they changed the actual address. I mean, that does not happen. They changed the address, and they actually, in Sunset Boulevard, part of Rockingham, one of the entrances is still there, but they had blocked it. For years, it was blocked because so many people would come here as looky-loos and check out the area. And Tom, you can see right over here, I only bring this up because this is immediately brings back a memory. There's garbage cans there now, but that's actually where the Bronco was parked. And the detectives noticed the Bronco was not parked close to the curb. It was parked in a way like someone was rushed in parking, and that's where they found blood in the Bronco.
Yeah, and Ashford is right over there.
Yeah.
Where was Alan Park's limo sitting?
So Alan parked his limo on Ashford, and there's a gate there. That would have another driveway. It was a round circular driveway. That is completely blocked. The house is rebuilt. It's not in the same house. So there is no longer an entrance to the house on Ashford.
Yeah. So some of the similarities that I can draw a parallel to from being here and then being over at Rob Reiner's house is these streets are narrow. And if this becomes a media circus, to think of all the vehicles that have to be here, law enforcement, whoever else. Obviously, you got a media show that's going on, and then you've got investigators, everybody. Alan Jackson's team is searching this. The prosecutors are going through everything that they can use down the road in a potential trial. And that's what it's beautiful. It's unbelievable. It's idyllic, like I said, over at Rob Reiner's house, but it is narrow and condensed.
And adding to that, you can hear all the beeping because nothing but construction going on. There's food trucks, there's people putting in the wires. You can George even get a shot. Like I said, there's major 18-wheelers coming through here in this area. And here, like I said, here's a car now that we are almost going to get hit.
Yeah,
so much congestion here. It's like completely LA.
It's activity, right?
Yeah.
Because these are beautifully manicured landscaping that needs weekly updates. So you have yard service people here cutting trees. There's never a shortage of activity. You always hear something backing up. But you get behind that gates, what used to be a really safe neighborhood wasn't anymore in 1994.
And it's a small community. Everybody knows each other in Brentwood. And everybody, there's nothing but buzz about the Rob Reiner. Every neighbor, it actually brings people sometimes closer to have some common ground on talking about the tragedy of Rob Reiner, but that opens up the communication, because normally neighbors don't even talk to each other in this area. It's sort of like your own private estate. You're in your own little city, and this is, people like ourselves, everybody's talking about Rob and Michelle Reiner, and there's a sense of community here.
It's amazing. We got the drone shots, which really added perspective to the first part of this episode over at the Reiner house, and now having the drone here. Everybody that followed the OJ crime case and know about Kato's history here, to actually see it elevated vertically from the sky is really fascinating. But again, this is LA. This is Brentwood. Murders generally do not happen here, but when they do, they're big, they're violent, and they capture the attention of the entire world. And I think there's a lot of value for us showing you these places today of the story that you're following. And, it's good for us, too, because then we get perspective when we talk about it on other episodes.
And real quick, we were at the Reiner estate earlier. We met Dane. He was a security guard there, who used to be a former deputy, and he would tell us about cases that he investigated before. And it was fascinating how he opened up to us, and he just immediately knew who I was, and he didn't say, "You guys can't film or nothing." He was just expressing how many people came by the home to lay down flowers, to express sympathy to the Reiners. And boy, he was so compelling in how he spoke, and very eloquent in his speech about how life is really short. He said, and you never know, you're never guaranteed tomorrow. And I think that's really kind of the whole thing. You're never guaranteed tomorrow.
Right, and holiday season right now, you're with your families, but I think you got to remember that. And he was emphatic. He worked as a paramedic in LA County for many, many years. As a matter of fact, he told us that he walked in on the, he was also a guy that worked at the courts where he had to walk people into their courtroom.
Right, he was a deputy.
Exactly, including the serial killer who killed Samantha Runyon in Orange County, which was a horrible serial murder case that we might get to sometime. But yeah, people out here, they'll share stuff like that. Like every time we've gone out and done this, people have been very cooperative. Remember Johnny, the mail guy, the mail delivery man that was so kind to us here?
Or the other guy there who's actually the Kato, who was called Kato, who had the long hair here. And he said, "One day I'll meet you." And that was in one of our episodes. You go back there. Also, he mentioned Dane, the security man at Reiner's, how people bring the flowers, but he pointed out one thing. He pointed out that the yoga instructor was distraught, and he had checked up on her, and she laid flowers down according to what he had told us.
Yeah. I thought it was a masseuse. Wasn't it a masseuse? Or was it yoga? It was one of the two. I can't remember. But yeah, the person that worked directly with the family and was still broken up. Okay, so Kato, before we end this episode, second time in 31 years that you've been here, just tell us, where did you park your car? Did you ever go through this entrance?
I was parked over in Ashford. I didn't never use the driveway, and it was my old 280Z black one, rusted out, and that's where I always parked. And but I was living the life because of being in Brentwood, and like we pointed out before, and we have the drone shots. People want to live in a guest house. In there. I mean, I'd rather own my own house, but people want to live in a guest house when you're young and you're trying to further your career.
Hey, we're taping this. Obviously, we're going to edit it, and then we're going to see the drone shot of the backyard. Aren't you like kind of curious to see what the backyard looks like? And what do you think your reaction will be where you see where the actual bungalow was? Because maybe it's not there anymore.
Oh, with this? Like I said, I don't think it is there. I think he gutted it out and also took out the pool. So I'd be interested to see what it actually looks like now.
Okay.
And those are beautiful dogs.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on this tour with us. I think it gives a lot of perspective to one of the biggest stories going on in the world right now. Load us up with comments. What did you think? Is this what you expected? Did it look like you thought it would? How did it make you feel? Just because this story is still pretty fresh and pretty new and definitely developing, and we'll have all the updates. All right, Kato, last time I see you before Christmas. Merry Christmas, my man.
Merry Christmas, my man.
All right, Merry Christmas to everybody. George, solid job today. It's nice to take you out on one of these road trips where you don't break down in tears out of fear. Serial killer,
George,
Richard Ramirez.
We'll see George in 2026.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a great year. One Degree of Scandalous on Tom Zenner Scandal, and we will see you very, very soon.